Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Welcome to The Hypnotist. My name is Adam Cox, and today's hypnosis session is going to feature regression, not past life regression. This is regression within a lifetime. Again, I'm taking inspiration from a movie called Reminiscence that features Hugh Jackman. It's set in the future where technology enables people to revisit specific memories from their past in detail. In the movie, it turns into almost like a holographic representation of this. But obviously, within this hypnosis session, it's going to exist in the mind of the person that experiences that. So I'm actually joined right now with a volunteer called Sharon, and she said that she would like to visit certain key memories from her past that relate to her being a mum. So the first thing that we're going to do is go back to the birth of her son. Now, one of the things that I'm very aware of when we're talking about regression is the role of emotions linked to memories. And that's why we like memories. It's why we look at photographs. It's why we like watching home movies, because it provides a trigger for us to access certain memories. But I'm also aware that sometimes there are unpleasant emotions linked to certain things. And obviously giving birth, I'm a man, is a very painful experience. So we don't want Sharon to be associated into the point of giving birth, but she will be an observer. So that's the difference between association and dissociation. And then there'll be certain key points that she will visit while she's doing this. Now, for the eagle-eared listener out there, you'll be noticing that my tense is present tense rather than past tense as it normally is in my introduction. And that is because I'm recording this live. Sharon is in front of me now. Normally I do the introduction after I've done the hypnosis session, but because we're doing it in this sequence, I'm actually, I've got Sharon in front of me. We haven't done the hypnosis session yet, so I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but we're about to start, if that makes sense. This will be useful, I think, for any parent that wants to reconnect with key moments in the life of a child. So although this is for Sharon, she's the client in this particular case, I think anyone listening to this will be able to tap into the emotions of what it's like to be a parent and maybe tap into certain memories that they've long forgotten. So I'm going to start the hypnosis session now. Sharon, if you want to get yourself comfortable. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in, just imagine breathing a feeling of calm and relaxation. Breathing in that resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allowing tension to leave your body. That's right. Eyelids completely relaxed, feeling heavier and heavier. And notice that with each and every breath, because you're breathing in a feeling of calm and relaxation and exhaling tension, it becomes harder and harder to even attempt to open those eyes, taking you deeper and deeper, relaxed. That's right. And occasionally while I'm talking, you might pick up on different sounds, either around you or around me, which potentially attract the attention of your conscious attention, which interestingly does exactly what I need it to do. Because the more your conscious mind is distracted, the better able I am to influence your subconscious mind. That's right. Breathing in that feeling of relaxation and exhaling tension. That's right. Deeper and deeper. Relaxed. And as your body relaxes, your mind and your imagination becomes more alert. And I want you to use and harness the power of your imagination to imagine visiting the future. And I don't know if that will be 20, 30, 40, or even 50 years into the future. But almost like a parallel universe, this is a future where you're in Miami. And perhaps not the Miami that you've seen in pictures, movies, or even visited, but a futuristic version of Miami, where the skyscrapers are even higher, but the sea levels have increased, so that much of Miami is now underwater. I want you to imagine being in a part of Miami, perhaps the old town, where there are old buildings and some of that seawater has created canals where water is running through the streets. Almost like a futuristic version of Venice. And if you can imagine what it would be like to walk around streets of Miami where there's canals and water, and you get a sense that you're in the future, but equally in your body at the present age, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And you're in Miami during the night. It's almost like it's too hot during the day, so everyone sleeps during the day and is active at night. And in that dusk, I want you to find an old building made of brick. I want you to climb up the steps, open a glass and wood door, and walk in to what seems to be a large room with very high ceilings. You can see the brickwork on the walls. It has the feeling maybe of an old warehouse, but there is futuristic technology inside this building. As you look around, you're greeted by someone that looks technical, looks like they know how to operate this technology that exists in this place. And I want you to get a sense that you're here to utilize this technology to go backwards into your memories. And you can see something that looks strange. It looks like a flotation tank, but a flotation tank without the top half. You're informed to wear whatever clothing is appropriate, perhaps a swimming costume, to enable you to relax and submerge into this flotation tank. And this allows your physical body to relax. You're given a sedative to again help the body to relax, but also to help those neural pathways in the brain relax, making it even easier to access memories that may not have been visited for a long time. And if you can imagine what it would feel like to be in the warm water of that flotation tank, having just taken that sedative, so any remaining muscle tension just melts away in the warm water of that flotation tank, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right, taking you deeper and deeper, relaxed. And then you're given almost like a tiara-shaped electrical sensors with pads that go across your forehead, around your temples, to pick up on the senses and the sensations and the electrical activity inside your brain. As you put it on your head, fully waterproof, you can submerge yourself again into that flotation tank and continue to just breathe in and breathe out as you feel how good it feels to be in the water, going deeper and deeper, relaxed. And then you can imagine me there with a microphone, speaking directly to your subconscious mind in a way that will enable you to activate long, distant memories. You're going on a journey through memory. Your destination, a place and time you've been before. To reach it, all you have to do is follow my voice. And I want you to think back. Several decades ago, perhaps 31 years ago, or more or less. And I want you to think back to a hospital. Perhaps the original journey of how you arrived at that hospital. I want you to get a sense of feeling what it felt like to be pregnant, but maybe detecting just the occasional contraction. You can observe and feel the contractions, but certainly no pain. And I want you to fast forward in time until the physical body of you is in a room, the room where later you would go through labor and give birth. But in this version of the memory, you will observe yourself as if you're someone else, as if someone or something else is in that room, perhaps just a floating video camera observing you going through that process of labor, the more intense and more frequent contractions. I want you to observe you. Your hair back then, facial expressions, the words you were using, and maybe the people around you. Again, you're not in your body, you're just observing your physical body there on that hospital bed. And you can pick up on things that perhaps you've not thought about for a long time. The layout of the room, the furniture, the colours of the walls, maybe where a window was located. You can see the facial expressions of those other people in the room from all those years ago. How much younger do they look? And you can see that your physical body is also younger. Seeing a version of you all those years ago, just before you were about to give birth. I want you to get a sense of the effort that you went through. Perhaps the sacrifices that you made. I want you to get a sense of it wasn't easy to go through that pain, discomfort. And then I want you to see you actually going through the latter stages of labor. And maybe you were given medication, gas and air, or maybe something stronger, and I want you to get a sense of how your body reacted. And there may be key details from that labor that you can still recall, and I want you to observe it as if you were someone else in that room. And you can position yourself anywhere in that room. In fact, I want you to imagine, with all your experience now, being in that room, giving that younger version of you words of encouragement, perhaps even advice. Because back then, you didn't have the same level of experience as you have now. And I want you to get a sense that your gift to this version of you just before she gives birth, maybe some kind of insight that would be useful to her. Imagine holding her hand, supporting her in some way. And then I want you to observe this young lady giving birth to her child. You can appreciate that you're seeing it from a completely different perspective. And I want you to get a sense of what a significant moment this is. Maybe there are certain smells, the smells sometimes you get in hospitals, hygienic stuff, disinfectant. I want you to get a sense that this is a clean, safe place. And then I want you to see that version of you pushing. And I want you to see perhaps the head of that child for the very first time. See the baby being born. Perhaps seeing a midwife cut the umbilical cord. Hearing that tiny, tiny baby cry for the first time. And then I want you to see the baby being handed to that younger version of you. See the emotion in the eyes of that version of you, holding that baby for the very first time. And then I want you to change your perspective. So you're no longer observing, you're now in the body. And I want you to ignore any sensations of pain and just to focus on the emotions of connection, love, gratitude, whatever you're feeling at that point in time. Seeing that newborn baby through your eyes for the very first time, and when you're back in your body seeing that baby, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And I want you to hone in on that emotion. The emotion that you felt back then. And that emotion was simply springing from a particular place. You may have felt it in every cell in your body, but it started from somewhere. And you may call it connection or love, bonding, relief, gratitude, but whatever you feel it, know where it comes from. And just point to that place in your body where that original emotion comes from. There we go. And that is just a spring, in the way that every river starts from a spring or several springs. And they can go to so many different places over so many different miles, but they start with a source. And I want you to get a sense of reconnecting with that source, knowing that at any point in time you can remember being in that bed holding that baby, and reconnect with this feeling whenever you need it most. If your unconscious mind feels that would be useful, beneficial and accessible for you, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And I want you to look at that tiny baby. And I want you to get a sense of the potential. Because every life starts off with unlimited potential. And at this point you had no idea where this life was going to go. But I want you to continue now on your journey. Perhaps to a few years in the future. To a significant, joyful moment. A moment that gave you a sense of pride. And when you're in that moment, where this baby's no longer a baby, this baby's become a child, but something happened to give you a sense of pride. Something that made you feel good about who you are and the mother you were. Just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And I want you to look at your surroundings back then, where you were. Who else was around? Only you will know if it was indoors or outdoors. If it was outdoors, what the weather was like at that time. The surroundings, the sounds, the smells, but also the feelings. And I wonder what had to happen in order for you to get such a sensation of pride. Not the pride that is boastful, the pride that comes from seeing the impact of your effort, perhaps shaping a life, seeing something important in this child because of the actions that you took. And I want you to really connect deep down with a feeling of the preciousness of these moments. That in the same way that what you did defined this child, isn't it the case that at some level this child defined you? The child is who they are because of you, and you are who you are because of this child. I want you to get a sense of legacy. There will be things that this child still believes many, many years later as an adult because of what they learned from you when they were just a few years old. you to give this child a hug. And I want you to tell this child all the things that perhaps you didn't say at the time, but you wanted to say. And when you've told this child everything that you wanted to say, but also everything that could help this child, because you're re-accessing this memory, knowing what happens in the future. And I want you to give this child some advice that may help challenges in the future be just a tiny bit easier. Once you've told that child what they needed to know, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And I want you to imagine that this child is giving you something that you need or have needed. Imagine that this child also has access to all that wisdom of the future. And you, at that age, being a young mum, what did you need to hear then? What advice would have helped you? What resource would have helped you back then? And I want you to imagine this child giving you what looks like a ball of energy, glowing white light. And it represents whatever you needed most back then. And if you accept that gift from your child, something that you needed more than anything else, just let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to take that glowing ball of white light, placing it into your chest where your heart is, and feeling that you're observing and absorbing all of that energy, resourcefulness, allowing it to ripple back through your past and your future. Because sometimes these moments in our past can affect our future. And I want you to imagine that the past is just a series of moments, each one perfect, complete, a bead on the necklace of time. But the past doesn't haunt us. We wouldn't even recognize us. And I want you to get a sense that you're taking what you need from the past to help you in the present. And I want you to go forward now, perhaps a few more years, perhaps to teenage years or even older. But another significant moment in this child's life, but also a significant moment in your life. And perhaps there's an opportunity to resolve a misunderstanding, to make something right that was unfinished or unresolved in some way. Something that if you'd have done it back then may have echoes into the quality of the relationship now. That's right. And when you're in that moment, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. Because sometimes the past isn't always about visiting those best moments. Sometimes memory is the boat that sails against its current. Some people say that memories are like perfume, better in small doses. Because it's not about nostalgia that never goes out of style. It's about, sometimes, looking at the past with new eyes, new opportunities. Hindsight, they say, is 20/20 vision. And maybe there's something you did in the past to your child that you could have done differently. Something you could have said that you didn't say, or something that you did say and you wish you would have phrased it differently. And if you can think of anything like that, just let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine rewinding it before the point that whatever was done or said had even happened. And instead, I want you to do it as you would have liked it to have been done. In your body, reliving that moment the way you wanted it to be. Because we can't change the past, but we can change the ripples in time from the past. We can change how we think about the past. We can shrink those painful memories down, and we can make those happy moments even bigger. And notice that when you change that one thing to make something right, to do something the way it should have been done back then, notice that you feel lighter. That perhaps the ripple effect of that is that certain emotions never occurred and instead were replaced with different emotions. And if the past, present and future feel like it's benefiting from the ripples that came from you applying hindsight back in that moment, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. Because it doesn't just affect that moment. Those ripples affect several moments in the future. And everything gets a little bit better. And I want you to imagine that you're going all the way back to a moment in your childhood, perhaps when you were just a few years old, and I want you to give yourself some secret advice, knowing what the future has in store for you, something that will help you in some way. When you find the right time to give yourself, your younger self, that secret, that moment, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right, there you are. But this time you're seeing yourself as if you're someone else. A child. And that child doesn't know that you are a future version of themselves. But I want you to say hello, connect with that child in whichever way would be appropriate and comfortable and plausible for that time. Perhaps you need to play with that child first or speak to that child, but when you've earned their trust, I want you to tell them a secret. People love their secrets. They think the secrets are the one thing they can take with them when they go. But the purpose of secrets isn't to hoard them, to hold on to them. I want you to give a secret to that child that will help that child, that younger version of you, handle the future in a more resourceful way. What if your future self is just reconnaissance? To go back in time and give that reconnaissance, that insight to that childlike version of you. And you can't give this child too much information, but you can give it just enough, perhaps to enable that child to handle tough times that little bit easier, to make them slightly more resilient, to handle challenges in a more beneficial way. And once you've given that child that secret, that advice, that information that will help that child, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to visualize a pond where you're holding a large pebble. Imagine throwing that pebble to the surface of that pond, perhaps hearing that plop as the pebble hits the pond. And I want you to notice that even though the pebble only hit the pond in a very specific small area, the ripples affect every part of the surface of that pond. And you may feel that you're just giving some advice, a secret, some information to a childlike version of you, except the ripples throughout time will affect everything, the past, the present, and the future, in the most beneficial way. And if your unconscious mind feels that these tiny alterations will have a positive impact on who you are in the present and your future, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And then I want you to return to that previous memory where perhaps your child was an older child or a teenager. And again, I want you to connect with that child through a hug, a conversation, holding that eye contact, knowing that you can experience in this moment your child at that specific age. Because as parents, sometimes we forget that although we have children, those children are changing every day. That a child at one age is completely different to that same child at a different age. And I want you to get a sense of treasuring this moment with your child at this age. I want you to feel that it's filling you up with a sense of all those wonderful emotions that you hope it will. That's right. And I want you to make a promise to this child. A promise that you will raise your standards in a particular area of your life. And if the child accepts this promise, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And then I want you to think what it would mean for you to keep this promise. What would be different? What would you need to do, say? How do you need to behave differently when you're back in the present? Because sometimes there's nothing more powerful than making a promise to someone you care deeply about, knowing that it will bring out resources within you to make that promise become a self-fulfilling prophecy, that the promise becomes true because of the intention behind it. And then I want you to say goodbye. Goodbye to the child at the age where you see them. And then feel the warmth of water on your body as you become aware that you're now in a flotation tank in the future, connected to sensors on your head, that it almost feels like you're coming out of a deep, deep sleep with vivid dreams. But somehow you leave that flotation tank feeling different to the version of you that went in. Those ripples through time have changed the version of you that leaves that flotation tank. And if you feel different, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. Subtle changes that will continue to influence your future. Because the important thing to realize before you leave that flotation tank is that your best moments aren't behind you. They're waiting for your arrival. And you'll only leave this flotation tank at the point where you accept that to be true, that your best moments are waiting for your arrival. Let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And it's now time to imagine drying your body off, getting dressed in your normal clothes, leaving this old building in a futuristic city, seeing the canals of a futuristic Miami but surrounded by water, seeing the glowing lights of restaurants and nightclubs. And then recall, this is just a thought within a thought, an idea within an idea, a dream within a dream. And that actually you're listening to my voice in a chair, firmly in the present, listening to my voice right now. And in a few moments' time, I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling highly resourceful, looking forward to the future, knowing that you can re-listen to this and access any elements of your past to continue to make positive ripples in your present and future. You will awaken feeling highly resourceful, feeling happy for no reason whatsoever, knowing that your best moments are ahead of you. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.